move the tribe forward always in a good, positive way. Help us open our hearts and our minds to all issues and to help us to put the people first and give us the strength to do what needs to be done, but always in a good way. We lift up the families who have lost loved ones, Warren Peterson Sr., Harley Londo, and the other ladies, and those who we don't know or may have forgotten. We didn't do it deliberately. It's just everybody's got a lot on their mind, and we're trying to do what we can with what we got. Please guide us and help us to always move forward in a good way. And please help us to be good examples for the young children. Help this pandemic go away quickly and heal those who have remnants of it, damages to their lungs and their body. Help them in their time, help them to recover and give them strength. Please watch over everybody as the heat is here. Keep them safe from the heat, keep the animals safe, and please, please watch over the children who will be along the river, swimming and playing in the water. Help everyone to be responsible. Please send us moisture and a slow, safe rain, and please help us to always move forward in a good, positive way. But most of all, open our hearts and our minds to be good people and to always learn the good things in life, to be good examples for everyone else. We ask this in the Creator's name, amen.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Chairman Clyde
Here.
Vice Chairman Cody Russell. Here. Secretary Treasurer Marvin Garfield. Here. Councilmember Stephanie Bowman. Here. Councilmember John McCauley.
Yeah.
Councilmember Don Gresso.
Here. Did you all get a chance to, entertain a motion to close the May meeting? Got a motion by John, second by Cody. Any discussion? Donovan?
No.
John?
No.
Stephanie?
No.
Marvin?
No.
Cody?
Nope.
Okay, call for the vote.
Four.
Stephanie?
Four.
Marvin? Cody? Motion carries 5-4-0 against, none not voting. You all get a chance to look at your May minutes.
Yeah, I looked them over. They look pretty good.
Yep.
I'll make a motion should there need any changes to be made.
Okay, got a motion by John. Second by Cody. Any discussion, Donovan?
No.
John?
No.
Stephanie?
We did in the wildlife department discuss, or requested a dog plan, which we did receive.
He said what?
Yeah.
Wait.
I guess I didn't see it.
But you didn't,
I didn't see
you didn't see it? It was forwarded in a email.
And it's on the website.
And it's on the website.
Oh, it's on the website?
It was he attached it to the, I can't remember what conversation was, but I tagged everybody.
Okay.
I'll forward it again.
That can go along with the changes, Mr. Chairman, correct?
Yeah.
Should there need be, she can look at it on the audio. I wasn't here, so I wouldn't know.
Okay. Marvin?
No, that was it.
Cody?
Nope.
Call for the vote, Donovan?
Four.
John? Stephanie? Marv?
Four.
Cody? Motion carries 5-4-0 against 10-12.
10-12.
None not voting. Number 5, Stephanie Londo's softball tournament date. I believe there was a mix-up, and she just wanted to send a new one with the right date.
Now, we've approved some already before. It isn't the same dates with the ones that we've already approved. Anybody keeping track of that? Because, I mean, it's not.
Yeah, Kyle in Kansas, June 12th and 13th. And then Stephanie's wanting to change hers, but it looks like July 3rd and 4th.
July 3rd and 4th?
Yep.
And what's that for steel? I forgot.
You guys didn't get that one yet.
Yeah.
Is Jordan still one?
Yeah, Jordan.
That's in that packet, there's what?
Yeah.
Oh, that's on the 2nd and 3rd of October, so that's for the pack.
Yep.
Well, with those dates, if they're being open, they'll move with the changes.
Second.
Okay, got a motion by John, second by Stephanie. Discussion, Donovan?
No.
John?
No.
No.
Stephanie? Marvin?
Nope.
Cody? No. Call for the vote. Donovan?
Four. Four.
John?
Four.
Stephanie? Marv? Four. Cody? Vote. Motion carries 5-4, against, none not voting. Is Mrs. Olson here?
Christie, I don't know.
She says she has an appointment a meeting at 10:30.
I know, what's her name's out at a funeral, so we'll skip that until she gets down here. Are she here?
Christine said Kim never sent her anything.
Who?
For the ISS update, Christine
Okay.
said Kim never sent her anything.
Okay. And still waiting on, Mr. McGee too, cause I wanted to have him and her here at the same time.
Well, let's throw this out there right now for the meeting. Is everybody okay without them? So we're good here. Cause I think we're all vaccinated and stuff.
Yep. So we'll table 6 until Mrs. Olson and Mr. McGee's here. We'll go on to number 7. You got that in your packets, the Alan Durkin request for the Friendship House.
I mean, whoever attends don't have to use their personal labor sick leave.
What's that? I'm sorry.
In your packet, the Alan Durkin request for the Friendship House. Says, good morning, we are having an open house at the Friendship House on Friday, June 18th, 2021, not payday.
That's good though.
From 2:30 to 5 o'clock, we are having planning meetings which include local counseling, Native Connections, and PFS programs. As part of our promotion for this event, we are respectfully requesting 2 hours of admin leave for tribal employees who wish to attend. We'll have a sign-in sheet that will be submitted to payroll staff for accountability. Thank you for the consideration of this request.
That's the way you do it right there.
Well, I was wondering if they would,
Sign
if you're gonna plan to have that much people, if they would expand it to the outside.
Yeah, you can bring that up. We can tell her
Yeah.
that, you know, if there seems to be a good amount of people that are attending, that they need to have it out or more, because there's a lot of shade around there with those old trees, you know.
But I mean, I like the combined effort also. I think that's a good thing. Everybody gets on the same page.
And it's kind of giving everybody the chance to get back to a little bit of normalcy, you know. That's the way I feel on it, so, good thing. So do we need past that then?
Yes.
Some of.
Got a motion by John, second by Cody. Any discussion?
No.
John?
Nope.
Stephanie?
Shannon, do you have any input into giving admin leave from 2:30 to 5? I mean, as far as workloads or, I mean,
They have to sign in.
yeah, your employees will have to sign in.
Yeah, as long as, if people don't sign in
That's the
and they
key.
take the leave, I'm not signing it. Unless there's somebody that can vouch for their attendance and that they forgot, cause every once in a while that happens.
But the sign in is a big thing, you know.
Yes, I agree.
They just can't go and say they went and go mess around somewhere else.
Well, maybe you can reach out to Ellen too and make her keep announcing it, that all tribal employees here on admin leave need to sign in, otherwise you will be denied.
I would also possibly have, Trish send out an email to all the directors, basically saying, cause again, like, I'm all for doing things like that, but if somebody's under a deadline and they haven't got it done, the work is their first priority.
Yeah, like
Just
reports
kind
and
of a
stuff.
reminder about that, and then, making sure that they sign in, and anyone who takes leave and that, you know, like, just kind of again, send out an email so everybody knows, and so if something happens, we did our due diligence.
Well, then I seen the follow-up sheet to it too, is IHS and gonna be there offering vaccinations too, from 2:30 to 4. Dodgeball, volleyball, pool, hot dogs, drawings for t-shirts.
Yeah,
Maybe a memo from Shannon or from Pies.
Yeah, I think Shanna can do that and just CC the council on it, so.
Okay, I'll just send it to everybody then.
yeah, all right.
Any
So
more?
taking into consideration Shannon's recommendations, I have no further discussion.
Marv?
No.
Cody? Nope. Call for the vote, Donovan?
Four.
Don? Stephanie?
Four.
Marv?
Four.
Motion carries 5-4, against, none not voting. Next one is you have a request from the family of Jordan Steele, Cody, you took this one, you wanna speak about it?
Yeah. As you can read there, his family's from Lower Brule. They want to use the softball field. We have no problem with that. We're also going to add him to the list also. Harley's going to be on the list for our memorial tournament. So anybody don't have any questions, I'll put that into a motion.
Got a motion by Cody to approve the Jordan Steele family request for the use of the softball field.
Make a motion.
Second, you mean?
I mean, second. My bad.
It's all right. Got a motion by Cody, second by Marvin. Any discussion, Donovan?
No.
Marvin?
No.
I mean, John, I'm sorry.
No.
Stephanie?
No.
Marvin?
No.
Cody? No. Call for the vote, Donovan?
Four.
John?
Four.
Stephanie? Marv?
Four.
Cody? Motion carries 5-4-0 against none, not voting. Item number 9, RV Park, Mr. Jacob Brous letter is in your packet. I'll read it out loud for the record. At your request, meeting the Lower Sioux Tribal Council, this letter is being provided regarding the monthly charge for rental and past due payments due to the RV park. There are 2 spots being rented. Both individuals renting those spots have been consistently late in making the monthly payment of $200 by the first of the month. The initial agreement with the tribe was to not allow Lower residents to live permanently at the RV park. At the request of the current council, this was verbally changed. I always maintain that these arrangements should be short-term, 6 months to a year at the max, while the renters continue to seek permanent living arrangements. The monthly rate is $200 is very reasonable. Over the past several months, the electricity charges averages $316 per month. Most of the $200 goes to pay for electricity the renters already used. I also called other RV parks in the area. Prairie Chicken in Fort Thompson. I didn't know there was an RV park there. Is the only location that has availability for
Special parking over there, you know.
that has availability for long-term rental at $500 per month. This is 150% more than what is currently being charged. Last month, I notified both renters that the monthly rate will increase to $300 per month. I work forward to working with the council in order to resolve this issue. Sincerely, Mr. Jacob Brous. What is the council's feelings on this?
Who are the 2 people down there?
Chuck,
I think it's just Chuck now, because I see Mr. Hood moved his trailer behind his dad's house now. So.
Oh, and Charlie should be moving too. They got his place out there fixed up. But I got a question, Mr. Chair. What's the reasoning why we do not allow Lower Brule residents to?
I don't.
do you want me to explain that?
Yes, John.
Because in the past, people were putting up campers down there and it wasn't being tended to or taken care of. And it looked pretty tough down there. And there was a lot of stuff going on, you know, drinking and stuff. And it wasn't a very good sight because they didn't keep it up like when you go to a normal campground where it's nice and clean, you know. And so that's why they stopped it where they weren't having them where they were constantly living down there because they weren't taking care of the area. And it was basically an eyesore.
Yeah, I think I remember some of that.
Was it a deterrent for other campers to go there then? I'm not sure how many
There,
spots.
well, there was some people that utilized it and they took very good care of it. But, you know, I love our people, don't get me wrong, but when others take better care of our property than our own people do, it's not a good thing. They showed it more respect by cleaning up, you know, and stuff. And but Jacob did do some upgrades down there. He did clean it up. I don't know. I know that bathroom's always been an issue. It seemed like every fall or every spring they always had to put a new hot water heater, not a new hot water heater in it because they failed to drain it and what have you. I think he got the water lines working like they should. I don't know if the sewer's working, what have you. I don't know anything like that. I don't know the logistics of it now, but I do know he put a lot of work into it. And with those little things running those, meters with, those little air conditioners running 24/7 and what have you, imagine it would run up a light bill, but I don't know how much they would be.
And I know that I had a number of at-risk homeless folks come in and complain that it was a bit, at the time, they were being told that it was gonna be raised to 300, so that does seem a bit steep for individuals who are trying to navigate those challenges. We do know that we are in the middle of a pandemic, or maybe hopefully at the tail end of a pandemic. Other households on the reservation were getting, subsidies for housing. It seems somewhat unfair for us to deny some sort of subsidy or to the homeless as well, who are just trying to meet those challenges. I do understand Mr. Browse's lease is, I believe, up in October of this year. So we can revisit it. I think I would say we keep it at 200, and then in October we revisit it and see how it looks. I mean, in nowhere in here does it state that, they're being a nuisance by alcohol use. Doesn't say that, they have a messy home area. But I do understand Mr. Browse's challenges too in trying to operate a business. But I think the extenuating circumstances of being in the pandemic and, the fact that we do have a housing crisis here on the Lord Brule reservation should weigh into our decision-making. That's all the discussion I have.
One thing I got, Mr. Chairman, is that I agree with what she's saying. I mean, we got some people down here that ain't gonna be able to afford this 200. If they are, they're barely affording it. That sometime might be the only place where they could take a trailer, or somebody gives them a trailer to stay. Why, he should be asking us to raise the limits for the people, the non-members here, the non-rollies, or the non-residents. Just leave that 200 for the, because like you said, there is a housing shortage. I mean, with all the houses around here, I mean, I don't even know if some of these people would qualify for the housing, so they might be their only option is to go on to the trailer park. I think you should leave it at 200, and if he wants to raise it for the non-Indians or non-residents, you could put a different request for that. That's all I have to say.
Mr. Russell?
Yes, sir. I agree with, if he wants to do 300, he can do that, I think, with non-residents, the people that come in and so forth. 200, I even also kind of think that's a little bit too high for our severe homeless. If they have some place to park for a while, sometimes I think probably we could even waive that $200. But I think he kind of protects us when he says the tribe was not to allow Lower Brule residents to live permanently. I don't think that happens very often, to move down to permanently. We had 2 residents, I think they said they're 2-3 months. He doesn't define what permanent is, how much time involved. So again, I agree with the $300 to non-members, and I also would even waive the $200 for our homeless. End the discussion.
One question on that. I'm not for raising it or anything like that, just told the history of it. But if their light bill is over the 200 or what have you, do you have to eat that? Or should they be paying their own light bill? That's just the question that comes to mind for me.
Yeah, I think they probably should be paying, but if they don't have it, we're gonna have to eat it. With the other person down there that was there, he qualified for WAPA, but there was some paper difficulty with Jacob not being able to bill him.
Oh, to separate his use of
So he,
electricity out, so it's
He could-
individually him.
he could not apply that $150. I think we should probably kind of take a closer look at that.
Because I will say with him running it, there's more order down there and it's a lot cleaner.
There is.
It's a lot cleaner. But that's the only question I had was on the light bill, you know, if they go over the 200 or what have you, who's gotta pay for it, that's all. And if he's having a hard time, if he can't separate those up, because I imagine I have to have individual meters on them. And if they don't have that, then how do you know who's using what?
Yeah, and you don't, you know, you've got one RV may be a lot bigger than another RV that uses
Exactly.
electricity and so forth. So it's hard to do that. So I don't know, maybe his set rate probably would take care of that, I suppose. I'm sure that's the thinking behind that.
Any discussion, Donovan?
It's a good responses by council members Marvin and Stephanie and John. I concur with Vice Chairman Cody with his idea on it.
You got any more discussion on that, Johnny?
No, thank you.
My feelings are, you know, looking around at other campgrounds and see what they charge. Cause I don't know if electricity is a whole separate charge itself. The other deal is maybe we look at in the future of creating a camper mobile home lot for those that are displaced or homeless. With the fact that we have our lawyers draft up a contract of living kind of like tenant rules, like the housing has, in a sense that if you're gonna stay here, you must maintain your property. You know, numerous complaints could get you evicted off of this site for those that are displaced and like are at their wits' end with no income or just trying to live and survive. You know what I mean? That we find some, whether it be 3 acres, 5 acres of a site to make a site like that for our people. That way, if he wants to turn his business into a more profitable business, that he will have that option of drawing in his customer base from the outside and maybe do his own advertising to try to make money. I kind of concur. It is, I understand it is a business and he's just trying to make it, I guess. And the other question is, I was wanted to ask, and I know he couldn't be here, but I wanted to know what the regular monthly amount electricity was before anybody moved in. You know what I mean? But maybe looking towards the future, when I talk about this separate plot for campers or even people that choose to live in a tent, you can look at powering it by solar or wind energy at a reduced electrical cost. Just something for the council, I think to think about in the future. But that would be my suggestion moving forward, that, you know, we have over 144,000 acres of land here. I don't think it would take much to get 5 acres somewhere, whether it be West Brule, down Lower Brule somewhere, and level some land off and put a gravel base on it and at least make them a minimum place. But as far as electricity hookup, yes, that would be tough. That's why I would say look at solar energy or wind energy to power that campground, so it's at a reduced cost rate to people in displaced situations. But
It's a good idea.
just my thoughts on that moving forward. So we had the discussion on that. So what is the pleasure of the council on this?
Like Cody said, the 300 on non-members, leave it the same at 2 for tribal members. Correct? Is that kind of what we were kind of?
Is that what you said, Mr. Russell?
I said 300 for non-members and the possibility of waiving the $200 if we have a severe case of a person displaced or homeless.
Motion.
And with that, if it's a law, well, somebody's gonna have to pick up that electricity. So I think we need to understand it's gonna probably be this place, right?
But can they go up to Allen and ask for help if they're on G8?
Yeah. They can, I mean, they get so much if they have had also, which but it's always hard to prove an actual physical address. And I don't know if there's one that has an actual physical address, you know? I guess, I mean, I don't have a problem with what Cody's saying, but how are we gonna word it to where it's gonna be? It's gonna, you know, yes, we're under 300 for non-members, possibly waive, but if the light bill is up to 230, 250, we need to understand who's gonna pay for that and how long will they pay for that, right? Cause it's easy to pass the motion, but they're gonna say, send the bill up on the hill. And we just need to understand how are we gonna take care of that shit if we go that route and for how long. Do you see what I mean? Just want the logistics kinda out there, so we're not throwing a motion out there in second and then
So,
Well, I think maybe if we do the 300 for non-residents, per Cody, waive it, or we could leave it we could leave it at the 200 until, because the lease is up in October. We could kind of renegotiate and fine tune that stuff in October.
Yep.
How do you feel, Cody?
Sounds good to me.
Is everybody okay with that?
because it doesn't sound, and he says they're late, but he's not kicking them out. Right? I mean, I'm not hearing that unless there's more to it being said behind the scenes than what we're hearing, but that's not what's in writing here. So are you okay with that, everybody, or do you wanna?
or what we could do is table this until Mr. Browse is available to come meet with the council and we get some more questions asked and answered in the fact of what services are being provided to them right now, those that are paying that. Is it just electricity, no water, or, you know what I mean? I think there's too many unanswered
Yeah,
questions.
because we're taking a shot in the dark and we don't know which direction we're gonna go to.
That's my opinion, but whatever the majority of the
I
council.
think, yeah, I think he should be here.
Yeah, then that way we could talk about it and actually, instead of trying to read his mind when he's not here, I agree.
We all in agreement, we'll table this until Mr. Browse can view?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. We'll move on to number 10, Cody. Cody's old stomping grounds, I'll let him give an update.
Yeah, that's the class of 69 is going to have a family reunion in August over in the Fort Thompson area. And Sister Charles is very accommodating. She's gonna let them use the halls for meetings and kind of a planning place. There's a lot of other activities going on, and as you can see, there is a lot of ways that the class of 69 wants to raise money. They're asking for a donation from the Lower Sioux tribe because there's a lot of former students that went to Savannah from Lower Brule. So, on behalf of them, I'm in support of a donation. We just probably talk about how much.
I guess, Mr. Vice, I understand you're supporting a donation, how much? Or, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
When I met with this lady and this gentleman, they came in that day at the tribal office, they were asking for any donation, anything is like 500. They weren't asking for the full amount, because they were asking other tribes too. They were seeking others, I think they were gonna seek with the three affiliated tribes, said they were gonna help out quite a bit with them on this, but they're asking for anything, really.
For what, I thought they said there's a person from California that is associated with the school at Savannah, and the tribe that he's from, or the corporation that he works for or something, has quite a bit of money, and they'd be able to get quite a bit from him, but still, we don't know how much that's gonna be, so if you want to, we can leave that open and I can, as we come closer to the day of the happening, I could stay in contact with them to see how much they did raise.
What do
Yeah, we do that.
we need to do it by motion or can we do it by concurrence until,
I think we can go by concurrence.
I don't have a problem with that.
Cause when I talked to that, I don't know, I can't remember his name, but he said that they already talked to 3 affiliated tribes and that they were gonna, sounded like they were gonna give them quite a bit. So they were just asking like for it, I said, well, how much you guys looking for? And they said, anything really from you guys.
Yeah,
Just because of the fact that people from Lower Brule went up there.
yeah, a lot of Bruleys went over there. They're in Flanders, you know. I don't have a problem with that, doing it under concurrence for the vice to work it out, Mr. Chairman.
I can correspond with them.
Any discussion? More discussion?
No.
Mark? Cody?
No.
Okay, so we'll just, delegate the vice chairman to work with that on, once he finds out what the needs are, whatever we can spare, and then we do a letter concurrence on the funding request. Once we get that funding request amount finalized, then we'll add that to the following month's, council minutes for the record.
Sounds good. But the vice will take care.
Okay, we'll
People's must.
move on to number 11. Mr. Skunk, you wanna come up? Cultural resources update.
That's what he said. I already asked the guy, the chairman up there, do that box. He said he's gonna help out pretty much. That's how much you looking for. You guys can go, even 500.
Okay, so I'll give you guys some time to look over that. I'll do that more towards the end of my update. As usual, I'll start with public information. The website's coming along good with all the programs, still waiting on a couple. I'll send out another reminder email to the directors I don't have on the website. As we talked a little bit before the meeting, the YouTube channel is ready. We're just waiting to make sure we have a good audio from the council meetings so that we can put it on there. The last few haven't, the audio's kind of been on the, not so good.
This thing?
Yeah, so I don't know if it's the mics or what it was, but the last one sounded like there was some noise in the background.
Oh, really?
It sounded like the cord wasn't fully connected.
Yeah.
You might have that.
Oh.
And so we're hoping that this one's good so that we can get it uploaded after the.
Yeah, that's why they pushed the table closer, because when people were coming through, they were kicking that cord loose and causing the issues, so.
We've been helping with the Constitution Reform Committee, whether that's, we help create some surveys, and then provided supplies like napkins and bowls and stuff for the meetings. And then from our office, we'd just like to thank the chairman, vice chairman, and tribal manager for attending the meeting on the roads. And then moving on to cultural resources, I've received the list from the BIA. I also received a list of elders from Dwayne for the elder committee. I've asked a few. And so my thinking on that was, we have 3 right now, Grandma Julia, Grandma Irene, and Evelyn. I was gonna ask the council if they could all pick somebody, because I'm not sure where to go from there. I've asked a couple of people, they've kind of interested, but a couple others said they'd have to get back to me. So I'm not sure how to move forward on that one.
For the elder committee?
Yeah.
How quickly do you need the names?
I mean, at least within the next couple of weeks.
Okay.
The couple people I've reached out to that have said they're interested, were Sherelle and then Lucille were the two that reached out to me about it. And then I talked with Red about it, but he said he was still thinking.
And to serve as an advisory, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, Elder Advisory Group.
Is it a stipended position?
Yeah, sometimes they do get stuff. And then, just to kind of give you a history about it, do you mind if I?
Oh yeah, that's fine.
Just in the past, when it came to different issues, when it came to the river or the land or whatever, Scott used to get the elderly advisory group together and get their thoughts on it. They made a map. And they did a really great job. There was some elders from Rosebud really wanted to get their hands on that map, but they made a map and it was really nice. But in all reality, Scott gathered the elders back when I first got on. They were discussing it already about this river project. But what they wanted to do was they wanted to do all the way almost, where it goes by Council Creek Bay, and they wanted it to go, 9 or 10 miles or something like that? He wanted to riprap this, and that's what the elders, and they actually had a thing out in the bend as well that they were working on, like this here. They wanted to do out in the bend, but they did do that island out there. The elderly committee did do an island out there, and it's the first time that one was ever done on the Missouri River with actually made another island. But they had a lot of input when it comes to the river, the land that was lost to the floods. And they discussed that, but not only did they just discuss it with the Lord Brules, when they would have the water summit during LNI out to LNI, they had the water summit. There would be elders from Rosebud, Pine Ridge, not very many from Fort, I don't think, because I know you know about it.
Yeah.
Your grandma. But some Yankton, not much. But they discussed a lot of the projects that mainly had to do with that were ongoing for several years now, Star Water.
Yeah, and then they also did some of the stuff at the Buffalo Interpretive Center, making sure that
Yeah.
the right information about Lord Brule was being portrayed and not some made up story.
And they did a lot of meetings with the Corps. They
Yeah.
handled that. I mean, that was one cool thing about it. And then Scott with Culture Resources would come and give a report just like Christian's doing here. They're telling what the work they worked on and what projects they were doing. But it was pretty good because they handled a lot of things that people forgot about or don't remember or were never taught, so it's a good thing. Yeah, they did get paid, but those grandmas would be there all day. It's pretty tough too, So, but it was a good thing, and I don't think we should let that be lost. We need to keep that going.
Yeah, and that's why some of the people I talked with too, I know have knowledge about the history of the tribe and why certain areas are the way they are.
And then he would also take them to Pipestone. Take the elders up, take them to Pipestone, and would have a meal out there. Sometimes those folks were very, very hospitable to our elders over there. They treated them great. And then they'd have a ceremony out there with Chanupa and stuff outside. And remember, Eltwin used to do a lot of the praying and stuff, and then sometimes Virgil. But they would have a ceremony out there. A lot of the elders participated, and because Pipestone is the only area where that pipestone comes from, it's really sacred to all the Native Americans. So there was a lot of trips, and then not only that, there was that place, was it Red Falls, or that has land out there where they have the rocks and the.
That sounds right. I can't.
It's on the news sometime. It's they wanted to make it a national, not forest, but park. So it's protected, so there's no, but there's some hieroglyphics of natives put there on the rocks. that's really interesting, and they would take us there as well and we learned about that. So it's pretty good. And it told us the significance of why Sioux Falls got its name.
Oh, Good Earth.
Yeah.
Good Earth.
Yeah.
Our blood run.
Blood run, yeah.
Yeah, there you go. But and it goes through a lot of that. But those elders, they did a good job. I mean, I like that.
How
And
many,
sometimes they would meet with the council too. So anyway, I don't
Oh,
get long-winded.
thank you. How many of us requested to be put back on there?
But what I was thinking was there's 3 on there. If you all let me pick 3, you all get to pick one, that'd be 12 total.
And then is it 55?
55 and older, yeah.
55 and older.
And I have the list from Dwayne too, cause I just got his list of who he delivers meals to. And so,
Okay, but that is not a comprehensive list.
no.
Yeah.
And I have a comprehensive list from the Bureau as well,
Oh, you do?
of everyone that lives on the reservation.
Okay, can you send us that list?
Yeah, a question, Ms. Scott?
Yeah, I would like to see that advertised to the whole tribe.
Okay.
It needs to be transparent to find resources out there that you may not be aware of. People that are interested, because that's a comment that I hear a lot. We don't know what's going on, we want to be involved. So some way to inform everybody that they're interested in applying.
Okay. What I could do is I could post it on the communications page and just say, reach out to your council members. Or reach out to my office, I could submit a name.
I have an idea too, maybe get a letter, I don't know how many it would be, cause I don't know the total elder meal count.
Yeah.
Send a letter out with those meals when they go out to the elders of, hey, this is what's going on. And even though a lot of some of our relatives, our elders are in the nursing home, maybe those that are, still functionable, they could be given that opportunity also. Even if they couldn't attend in person, maybe they can do it over the phone or something. And I'd really like to see some diversity of what male elders we have left to be on there too.
Yeah.
I really want to see them, everybody's knowledge be included in that. And honestly, I know there's, a group, I'd just say, put them all on there. So they all have their voice heard, but that's just me, but I do appreciate the work.
55 and
Now, do we want to go with 55 or do we want to raise that a little bit?
Well, see, the requirements that I got from when they first started the group, the requirements were 65 and older, and they had to speak the language.
I remember that. Then they got to where there wasn't so many
Yeah.
that spoke the language, so they let that slide and just went with the older.
65 and older, yeah.
Exactly.
So that's another option.
So Marvin, do you want that at 65 or no? Try to be quiet over there. We know you had a big old sandwich for breakfast. Sugar higher than hell. Donovan told me to say that.
I have a question, Chris. Are we done with that?
No,
We're still just questioning our discussion on the elder deal.
I'd say just leave it at 55, cause there's not really a whole lot.
Yeah.
Somewhere in an elderly home, we don't have a whole lot of elders left.
Actually, I think you do. We do have a lot. How many are there, Chris?
I didn't fully count the list from the Bureau, but I have, it's like 8 pages long.
We've got a lot, that's why 65 sounds like a good cutoff.
And so what I could do too is I could ask the Bureau again to run another report on 65 to see where that's at.
I just threw it out there, that's all, because
Cody, how do you feel?
our elder.
At 55?
55 or 65?
55 is not very old.
Alright.
Get to the golden age like I am, you appreciate that.
You wish it was 55.
I think Marvin's got a point though.
65.
You wanna kinda extend the elderly count by doing 55, you will have more elderly.
Yeah.
I think, I respect that point.
Can we do maybe half and half? You know, like 655, 665? No?
655.
Or put a, can we put a range?
665 and 665.
But would it be
Diversity.
possible, but possibly, because if you
Yeah.
say that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Some of them are gonna look for that, if you half and half them. I think the best bet is just leave it at 55 like they said and go from there.
And then when
That's it.
it's selected, maybe try to balance it out maybe.
We should balance it with 6 males and 6 females, maybe.
Does anybody know where that 55 come from? Did we create that, or is that kind of a state number, or what?
I recall reading a tribal resolution at one point defining the age of an elder at 55. I can't remember, I can't tell you any more about it, but I have that in my brain somehow.
I'm not sure, but I think it comes from that, isn't that what the elder abuse law over here is? They have to be 55 and older.
I don't
I think
know.
that's what it
Honestly, I
covers,
don't.
55 and older.
Yeah.
It's the elder abuse law.
I remember reading that though. I'll put that letter and then I'll get it to Dwayne and and then we've had multiple meetings about funding. The chairman's been on Hannah's been on them on the wastewater treatment plant. We had meetings with the Corps, IHS, and Banner as our I think they're our engineering consultants on that. I think it's a good project. Next week, Mary Jane, Brian, our Dr. Molyneux and I will be traveling to Hill City. Cody, I think, is coming along with us to Hill City to see the wastewater treatment plant they have over there.
That's where they went before too. It's
Yeah.
supposed to be almost the same thing.
Yeah,
You remember
so
that?
Yep.
that's what we're trying to see now, so that Cody can see, Brian can see, we can all see now that we're all working on it together, kind of see what their goal is, because they only actually, I think, have one full-time person and a part-time person that run their whole
Is
operation.
their population the same as ours though? That might be a question to ask.
I'll put that down.
And to follow up to his conversation about that, my concerns, I like the idea. The real concern is the long-term funding
Yeah,
for the O&M, your personnel, your needs. Because what they're hoping is that, in a sense, that we, the tribal members that use the system, will pay that cost and then also gradually increase that cost to cover that O&M. And where I had concerns is that, we're still unfortunately a poverty-stricken tribe. So, there's a lot that won't be able to afford that. And that's, it's a big concern for me because it's gonna be an added cost to the tribe, on top of our other, monthly bills. But the fact of the matter is that all we can do is hope and pray the stabilization project saves the land from further erosion in the lagoon cells. But this is kind of the way into the future also because of the, we all know the odor those things cause and the safety hazards. It is remembering the young boys that lost their lives in the late 70s and drowning in there. And then also we have people still trying to get into that fenced off area. So there's a lot of discussion on that project. But, moving forward to the future, that was one way to try to get away from the lagoon cells in a sense. You would still use the number 1 cell, if I remember right, as an overflow. And they redesigned the drainage, the stormwater drainage on the outside of the cells to run down to the point of the Y.
Was that the route they took instead of the original?
Instead of straight down,
Yeah.
because they wanted to jeopardize that berm.
Yeah.
But, you know, that's why I said it's a good project, but there's a lot of concerns behind it because it's always, you know, with any good project, you have to have a funding mechanism in place. And without a real source, it's another really cost to the tribe. And then it's finding the people to run the plant. Because they're gonna be like rural water, you're gonna be on call 24/7. Something starts going wrong, you have to get down there and troubleshoot the problem.
I think that's a level 4 as well.
Yeah.
So that's a lot of chemicals that's come into play.
Yeah, so that's what I said, and like I said, it's got its pros and cons, the most definitely, but it's some of the arguments we have been made, and I even had some harsh words with the IHS on it, unfortunately, but like I said, it's got its pros and cons. You really have to balance that, but you have to look down into the future of, okay, is this a cost affordability to the tribe down the road? I would love to say yes, we get increased revenue sources to not have to worry about that. But when you're thinking realistically, you don't know, because you're going on a pipe dream more or less. But like I said, it is something that is needed. It's the affordability and availability of the funding. The tribe will have to pick up on that cost. And so that's just one thing I want you to keep in mind on that project, so.
So the next thing is we have all that meat from, it's supposed to be distributed throughout COVID. And we got that moved back up here to the tribal office now. I sat down with Christine to kind of go over a meat distribution plan.
Stuff that was out there.
Yeah, at the wildlife.
Did you get almost all of it?
We got all of it out.
You got it all out?
Yeah.
Great, because I really don't trust that freezer out there. It goes out and they lose a lot of meat sometimes.
And so
It's getting hot.
right now, after our count, we got it down, so we're just gonna right now read about the elders and so that they can each get about 4 pounds of meat and 2 it's like packages of stew meat. But that's what our count was at now for it to really make it seem. I mean, we could probably lower it down 2 pounds of meat, but we could really make it get by for a little bit. I think that 4 pounds of meat's a little bit better than 2 for each elder, but.
I would just want to make one suggestion on that too. I would like to have some available to large families with a lot of kids. You know, I know.
And so that's where.
A lot of them run short by the end of the month, and you know, we do feel it up here. And we don't want nobody to go without.
Yeah.
You know, so even if, except we create that ration process or whatever, but just say, hey, if you're, you know, your families need some meat, you know, we can help you out. Because if I remember right, the farm actually said there was a couple more cows that wanted to
There's supposed to be more coming.
kill and bring.
Yeah, and that's where some of that, I don't think we'll use both cows and both buffaloes for the powwow. That's just kind of what they requested in the past. So even that meat too, when it starts coming, we can figure out a distribution plan for that as well.
The farm says that they donated 3 thus far for the pandemic. And then I had sent you an email about processing times being months out. Did you check to make sure that you're gonna have meat processed by powwow?
I don't think I received that email.
Yeah,
Cause we were told somewhere that meat processing plants are.
yeah, you have to book those damn near a year ahead of time.
So.
It's really getting to be hard to get into those.
So my fear was that, we have all this meat available and then we put it out, then you don't have any meat for powwow time. So you might
That's another
wanna,
option too.
yeah, I mean, cause I did hear that, all the way to Pier to wherever, they were months out in processing, so if you could double check that.
And if you can forward that to me
Yeah,
again.
I'm pretty sure, it's either, you know, the emails have been crazy these days, but that was my concern, was that you didn't give it away and then you not have anything processed.
Yeah.
What if there is no room in those processing plants, do our wild department workers know how to like, butcher a cow?
Anybody can hack up a cow, you know, I mean, we did it down to the high school. One time we did a hunt, showed them how to hunt it, shot it, showed them how to skin it, and then we took the meat down there and we did it in like a back end of 3 pickups, and we deboned it.
And Benny's out this week, but I would suggest give KJ or Jody a call at the Wildlife and get their list of the locker companies they work with. Is there still one in Highmore or not?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Remember, we have a
Cola.
tribal member who owns Chamberlain, so one of his small business that way.
Who's that stuff?
Christopher.
Avery's boy.
Really? Right on.
He owns what?
He owns Chamberlain Locker now.
Oh, he does?
Avery
Yeah.
Thompson's son.
Yeah, he worked there for several years, and then he ended up taking over on it.
Yeah.
Right on.
So he might be able to squeeze us in.
If not, we'll be catering pizza and hot dogs. No, I'm just kidding.
Lord Brule's always been known for their good chow at the powwows. Everybody knows that.
Also with the food too for the powwow this year, it was a decision made by the committee to ask like for sponsorships to help offset some of the costs of the powwow. And so like from West Central, Golden West, reaching out to Teresa at the Trading Post. I think the other one was Wells Fargo was an idea, and then like programs to see if they can help either cater a meal or pay for some of the cost of the meal. Just because did a lot of cutting in the budget, and if we take out the cooks and that food part, that saves the tribe $20,000 just right there.
If you took the cooks out of it.
Yeah. Because I think it was like 12,000 we were paying total for all the cooks, plus the food we ordered for them.
Can I ask a question? Is anybody on the finance on the committee just for oversight finance wise?
No, but I do go to Trish every time something comes up. And I ask her, I got all my budget stuff from her.
So that was my next question. This is kind of in line with what has historically been allocated.
The powwow, the other ones are the rodeo and both softball. The powwow is actually lower than.
Lower.
Yeah.
Did they get anything to you about like the bull bash or anything like that?
That's.
Are they gonna have it? Do they have plans?
They're gonna have it. They just wanna make sure that they're allocated about the same as they were before. And Benny just submitted the overall.
Cause that kinda kicks it all off.
Yeah.
It's kinda cool too.
I think I did forward you on that email those figures he came up with.
Yeah, I have that included in that packet.
Cody wants to play Mexican poker. And then it was me, and I don't think I outrun me on that one. It was pretty fun, man. It was a hell of an experience.
Dangerous, buddy. Make one slip, you can get the horn, Jack.
So this doesn't have dates on it. I mean, I think we all know when it is, but
It's usually
It's August 13, 14, 15. I have 12th for the bull bash
12 for the bull bash.
and 12th for the wiping of the tears.
No carnival. Kid stuff.
I know, I'm not that I've been made aware of.
Yeah, and I remember that's what Benny was talking about. They didn't know if it was gonna be a Great Plains or South Dakota Roads because there was another big rodeo going on somewhere.
And so his amount, he said that 25,000 would probably cover all of it. It just, he didn't know which route they were gonna go on. That, Cody's, I just rounded to 18 because he had still waiting on some bids for
Why is the crow's nest so much?
the crow's nest. That includes rooms for the announcers. The announcers pay, the arena directors pay, the clerks, does it clerks, arena director, there's for royalty crowns, that's included in there too.
So they took royalty from the veterans and put it in that then?
So
Is it a fight or what?
Wayne suggested just to have our, like a fair royalty and then a veterans royalty,
Okay.
so.
We got a lot of workers too that you pay for certain things too, don't you?
Yeah, and so.
Over at the softball, our crow's nest expenses, we extend those to, not the players, but the people that help us and the referees. They get to eat and drink all weekend free.
And see, that budget, actually, I was looking for this 16, that's still saving us like 5,000 from what was spent before. Because this one actually includes the rooms that we'd be paying for, as well as, because before they had like 7 clerks, they were paying between $500 and $750.
Because, what I wanna say something is, Cody did a really good job of breaking down where all the money went, and since I've been in office, and since 16, I've never seen a breakdown on the powwow. I would love to see that this year at the end of after there's.
Oh, I have all broken down, but I didn't know how, because powwow's really long, and I didn't wanna have 4 pages for just powwow.
You might wanna just figure in a little extra because because it's your first time doing it, you're gonna have unexpected costs.
Yeah, and so right now, I mean, I think I have like 16 for emergency, but there's probably room for other stuff to add back.
Are you charging, non-Indian?
That's what I wanted to come to the council about. I don't think the committee was getting exactly how I was wording it, because that's what I mentioned about tribal members and tribal employees getting in free, and then everybody else having to pay.
Even, tribal members from other.
Yeah, and then of course the feedback was this is supposed to be our time to
Gather.
and as a community. So.
I remember in the past, there was a lot of fighting and stuff over it sometimes. Workers, people complaining, a lot of them from Fort complaining. And I told them, well, if you don't like it, go back to Fort. You know, well, that's just the way it gets sometimes, man.
So one of the
You can only
committee
take so
members
much, you know.
had made a comment that if we didn't change something about the powwow, I don't remember exactly what it was, that someone from Fort was gonna go to Idaho for a powwow. I said, well, they can waste all their gas and go to Idaho
Yeah.
for a powwow then.
Because it does get that way, and it gets very tiresome, you know, but.
Yeah, and the one thing I've been doing is like kind of cut down some of the pays too for people, because like some of this doesn't make sense to pay someone $800 for the weekend to just sit there.
Oh, like there's stands and stuff?
Yeah, no, well they were paying that much for like clerks and things like that. And so that's what I've tried to do is cut this down, and I could I have all those figures right on my spreadsheet. I could send that over to you guys.
What was the committee's thoughts on it then?
He's asking us to make a decision.
On the charging of?
I think out of the 9, 4 of them didn't want it.
Well, we got the committee in there for a reason. I think they're the ones that should really address it myself.
I'm personally don't think we should charge. I think we should just open it up to the people, everybody to come.
And I mean, the group we have is really good. They have some ideas on future, like, things to help offset the cost. Because like I said before, I want this committee not just to pop up in May and June and July, and I want this to be an all-around, every year committee that focuses on the powwow and the fair. And so they have good ideas on different things we can do to offset costs too.
What I don't see also is a security cost.
Okay, so that's the other thing I have to talk to Trish about because that wasn't included in any of Claire's stuff at all. All this other stuff was included on, and so before her budget was like 115,000, but that didn't even include brooms, the electricity, the porta pots, none of that in it. And I tried to include all of that in it in this one budget request. But I can add security in that too.
So we're probably looking more about 200,000 is my guess.
Oh, yeah, easy.
With your added security cost in there.
Yeah, probably.
So are you asking us if you think you should charge or not?
No, not really, because I think the committee already kind of said they didn't want it.
Oh, they didn't want it?
No.
I just have a question, Chris. Do you know, based on like previous years, how much we made as far as profit when we did
No.
charge at the door versus, and then
Well,
after we
so
pay
that-
the people who actually, you know, you gotta pay the people who take
So
the
most
money.
of the charging of that money from previous went straight to paying the
Yep.
cooks.
That's,
But we don't
yeah,
have how much we made.
I'm not sure.
Not that I know
He used to turn in, Scott used to do a turn in, and that's a Trish question.
Open it up.
But a lot of times he'd pay some of his health, blood and stuff.
Through that money that's generated from the cakes.
Yeah.
But exactly how much, I don't know.
Yeah, I was just
Where do you get money to
wondering,
go in
like,
there, get any talk?
Yeah, I know, to get a, see how much
half
would be
of them sneak in anyway.
in a minus or what have you, how much we're just leaving out there.
And so for the record, can you list your committee members?
my committee members, the chair is Marlo Londo. The vice chair is Michaela Estes. The secretary is Ella Stricker. My department serves as the treasurer. And then I have 5 members. Oh. Robbie Harmony Horses, Joshua Estes, Leah House, Lucille Skunk.
Lydia.
Oh, Lydia. That should be 9, 10 including me.
I only got 9, including you.
Who do you have?
Is Taryn on there?
Who?
Taryn?
No.
No.
Oh, Camelot. Yeah, Camelot.
Okay, you got 10.
Yeah, and these numbers, they're not exact numbers, they're gonna change.
Yeah.
Because it is his first time doing it, so just understand that it's not set in stone.
So for emergency purposes, you probably wanna allocate at least 250,000 away for it to be a safety net, right?
Well, it just depends on.
You can't go off what if, so it'd be best to just guess, okay?
Like, cause I'm thinking about cost of security, now that you said that.
Well, I know, yeah, what I'm saying is, let's add, it's 163 right now.
Yeah.
40. You can almost just say we're gonna bump that to 200 for security costs. Then he's throwing another 50,000 just to make sure you have all your needs.
Cause you
don't have rat
rodeo?
Because of the other fact is the food prices. I mean, we all seen what happened to prime rib prices, beef price, everything's just really inflating right now. Because I see it as suppliers seeing a way to make money now that there's gonna be more money back put in the economy with the ARP plan, so they're looking at a way to make a buck, and so you just throw it in there for a good safety measure, so you have enough budgeted to cover any incidentals that might not be seen at the time. So we don't have to try to scramble up here on a Friday and write out a check and process it and get the fraud filter and all that stuff. And you just have that. And whatever's not needed, you just give them back to the tribe. So that's my opinion, suggestion on that, Mr. Secretary Treasurer.
Agree with that.
Just need a
So
capital approval.
Shannon, do you wanna, as tribal manager, and finances, and, is this something that we're not too far away from being, short on funds? And so I like the chairman's idea of having somebody from finance kind of weigh in on it, maybe with the secretary treasurer, so we can make an informed decision.
I mean, I definitely think that, like you said, you had the spreadsheet with more itemized, that the finance department, somebody from our finance department.
And I mainly work directly with Trish on all that, because she's the one who sent me the stuff anyway, so I just go to her when I have a question about anything.
But I will tell you, Chris is, from what I'm seeing, he's getting a handle on it right away. And that's a good thing. I really don't think Shannon needs to be involved in it that much. I think if he works with Trish and Marvin, keep everybody in loop, I think that'll work out great.
Well, the other thing is too, is if, you remember, you're getting a little bit of return off your vendor fees, and your hope is, but Paul usually ends early on Friday night, so your hope is they go to our casino and put a few bucks in there, and so that money actually comes back to the tribe.
Yeah, so.
And we only have one gas station. I wish to God we had our grocery store open by then, man, would make even more, but.
But utilize
I
that as
think
much
two of
as
the
you can.
biggest things we've changed so far, besides the cooks and stuff, is the sessions. We're gonna end hopefully by 5 on Sunday. Just have one session on Sunday. And then the drum thing is now we've changed it to a drum contest. And we'll have 4 places, 5,000, a 3,000, a 2,000, and a 1. And then the remaining 10,000 of that budget will go to be split amongst the drums that didn't place. Just so they have gas money and those types of things to get home.
Try and keep everybody happy.
Yeah.
Because I'm glad Quentin's here while we're talking about this, because that is probably one of our biggest money-making opportunities. Of course, is to be here, first year here at Wally Half Fair as the new GM. So, yeah, that's kind of the way I see it. So we actually will recoup a little bit, and then, like I said, hopefully we have a lot more things in place next Powell season, like the new grocery store. We can get a lot of our needs right here, because a lot of people, it's gonna be hot. People want their ice and pop and chips, whatever. Yeah.
So systematically, the budget, this should have been presented last year for this year to be included in the budget, so we have no budget to go from for last year to see if we even have the money. You following me?
Yeah.
So, I mean, is it the council's thoughts that because we're in the financial situation we are, we'll pull from the American Relief Funds to cover this cost?
We don't need to
No.
discuss that out loud right now, where we're gonna do that. You understand?
Yeah, so we'll
We'll end up covering it in whichever way we can legally or what have you with the finances.
Yeah.
But we still got room to work that out still.
I got a couple questions. That emergency cash line item there. What is that used for? John, do you know what that is? That's for, like, every once in a while, we'll have a family that runs out of money and they need gas to go home. Is that kind of included in that?
Where are you seeing emergency cash at?
It's on the second
And so,
page.
1,600.
I don't know. I mean,
is he like in the,
sometimes people got stuff stolen. Like one instance, a guy I was on a Monday morning. He went to eat at the casino. He came back and his tent and everything was gone. His belongings. So then he gave him, a couple $100 to get home, what have you. But it didn't pay for his loss. But he felt guilty. I remember that because of him getting ripped off. But that's the only thing I could think of.
And then also insurance. I don't know if something happens at the powwow. Indian Health Service probably would put in there. Over at the softball, when we pay those ASA umps, that insurance covers the non-Indians, like if they would, it's getting pretty dangerous over there. They got those killer bats nowadays, holy smokes, them are dangerous. So I'm hoping that the ASA fee, the insurance will cover if somebody would really get hurt over at the softball.
Oh, hit by a softball or like home run or what have you, or?
Well, you get hit with one of those balls with those new kind of killer bats they have, well, it'll take your head plumb off there.
I think that's a,
What do you, let me ask you this, Cody, when you have players coming in to play, and I'm sorry, I don't mean to drag this on, but do you have them sign waivers as far as liability? For, when I ran the Ranch Rodeo, every contestant on every team had to sign a waiver where they weren't holding the tribe responsible should there be any accidents or injuries to them or their personal property.
No, we don't do that, but as I understand, when we pay that ASA fee, that covers, I don't know how much of that, but I think that might be a good idea.
Yeah, the one I had Julian Brown drafted up and I gave a lot of it to, I'll see if I can dig it out. I know I got it stashed away, but anyway, that might be where you can have one drafted up by Randy, a waiver. I think that might work out. I mean, we did it for contestants because it was so dangerous, you know? But anyway, just a thought.
Yeah, if you dig that up, let me take a look at it while I'm Randy kinda.
Okay, I'll see if I can. I know I got hacked away.
I think it usually states it right on a Apollo poster, doesn't it?
Not responsible for accidents.
Theft, or injuries? I thought it used to.
I wonder,
if not, I can add that into.
it's kind of broad, but at least it
But if-
states that.
I would also agree just for liability purposes, especially for to sign. I mean, even my kids with like little kid basketball tournaments have to sign a waiver. It's just kind of standard. It's just cover us.
Even when we played Mexican poker the first time with that bull, you know, what went out there, we had to sign a waiver. When we got out there and played away.
One other quick thing on this. Is there any improvements that need to be made with the Apollo grounds that maybe are not in the budget?
And that was something I had given to Stephanie to give to the council in the past, like a
When
few
we-
months ago.
When we have extra money, it's on the list of how we're gonna prioritize what projects.
Yeah.
So I have his paperwork.
Did you have like something, electrical box or something get run over out there this past summer? Jim Brown said he ran into something.
He's been down there doing stuff. Jim has. I seen when he had those
Yeah.
things flipped back. I don't know if he was
I haven't-
moving or what, but
Last
somebody's got
time
to
I
water
was
it.
down there, someone had ran into the fence, so the fence is down.
Yeah, you might want to give,
But, I know Jim even said that, anything that needs to be fixed on the, concession stands or like that, you get a hold of Enterprise to do. Because they've done it in the past, but I don't know if they have workers right now or not.
But don't start it just a couple days before the powwow.
Yeah,
Through the month of July, that's when you want to start getting it all.
yeah,
You know, and then I don't know, like if Fidelia's program has people or wanting to work or Mary Jane's crew, you know, they
Yeah.
might be able to do some painting and stuff, what have you.
yeah, cause I had them go
Just a way to
down,
share resources.
yeah, I had them go down and move all those bleachers down there so that Jim could mow.
And he's watering it too then,
Yeah.
Cool. Does a really good job with those lawns. He's an expert at that way.
softball looks pretty sharp.
I see that.
Holy smokes.
Okay,
That's everything I have.
thank you.
Oh, by the way, Chris, the school moved in 12 pieces of,
Bleachers,
bleachers, yeah. Are you guys gonna need any of those?
those metal ones.
Some of them are pretty nice.
I don't even think
No.
that fit under the Bowery, would
No, I
they?
don't think they'll fit under
You
the
what?
harbor.
They wouldn't fit under the Bowery. The top goes around the Apollo grounds?
Or no, I was thinking there's over there by the concession stand, just a little bit to the west, people group there, you know, to eat. Have you ever seen
Let's
that?
sit down and chow.
Yeah,
Oh, the rodeo, I mean, the powwow or the softball?
at the rodeo.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that powwow, yeah, I don't,
Yeah,
some of them are flat, but
yeah, the rodeo's Benny
But-
thinks so, but he could probably, if he wants to take it over there.
yeah. So you might wanna get Benny, see if he wants some of those, otherwise we'll put them all the way around that. It'll be a permanent structure, almost, made out of metal.
Yeah, just through that, my quick advice, you know, get moving here, but keep announcing on it for cars not to block that gravel road. Especially, you know, emergency purposes, you gotta keep traffic moving and it's very congested.
So we talked about the powwow not charging people to get in. How about the rodeo? Do they?
That's separate.
No, they haven't
No, they
for a
haven't.
long
They
time.
don't do that?
They have not. They haven't.
Thank you, Chris.
No, we don't.
There was just one of these in here that I wanted to discuss, but I wanted to do it in
Good
closed
one,
session.
man.
Call with
She
you?
did have Bill.
Okay.
Yeah, but we could do it later, okay?
Sounds good.
So all this is info for now. Right on.
Quentin, you wanna come up to the table? Move on, item 12, Golden Buffalo Casino. Ursula, did you, or Shannon, could you get a hold of Miss Olson? Christine? Get a hold of Christine.
Christine Mack.
Financial all the way back to 1999, far back to audited. I think Marvin, I gave, you had that whole box of all these.
Yeah.
things,
I had that box that one you gave me.
right? Every year I'll be giving that to you.
Okay.
I'm sorry, for the record, what did you just submit?
Financial, audited financial records as far back, Clyde, the last meeting we had, Clyde asked me to get all those. So I had, taken some digging and finding them, but I got them all the way clear back to 1999.
These are past audits, you said? Wow, man, I don't have time to read that. Pass that back.
The blue one is actually this year current one.
Okay.
I'll be giving you a copy of those every year, plus with the agreed upon findings on the casino.
A lot of those numbers, you know, they look pretty outrageous, this and that, but unless you know how to read them or have somebody help you maneuver through them, it gets a little difficult.
If any of you have questions, just, yeah, I can actually come up here and help you look at them, read them and tell you what they mean.
Quentin, when you, for lost, did somebody visit with you about lost revenue?
Yes.
How do you figure that out, just from one year to the next?
I think it was $1.7 million.
How much?
1.7.
That's a guesstimate.
That's the numbers.
That's the real thing?
Because the COVID shut down, we lost.
Yeah, but and the reason why I say that's a guesstimate is we might have been able to make a little more than that. We don't know actually what, you understand what I'm going with? I had some people, I had some pockets pretty deep, wanted to get rid of it. Couldn't come because of the road checks, you know?
How many months was it closed down? 5, 6?
Yes, April 12th through September 1st, I believe.
Plus you didn't have fair, so you have to factor in that revenue.
Hunting season, that's a big one.
Most of the fare I've been noticing for every year as a general manager of other places, most of them are on a fixed income and budget. Very few of them gamble. But most of them, when Sunday's over, everybody leaves out of town. I usually go through around $200,000 from vendors asking for change and things, breakdown bills and stuff like that.
How many, real quick, how many vendors do you have called so far? Vendors?
Vendors, and I think we're at 8 or 9.
Did you contact some as well?
Yes.
And let them know that we're
that's
having
what
it?
I contacted. The other ones, there was numbers that weren't working, but I figured they contacted.
I like Lemonade Man, get back down here.
He passed away.
Oh, he did?
Yeah, like a few years ago.
Oh my God, he made the best lemonade, man.
What happened to him?
He passed away, I guess.
Really?
Yeah. Bob, better get with that lemonade.
I'll buy that Simply Fresh and pour.
No. I want some cases of lemons and ice and, I don't know what you put in that mix, you know.
Oh, sure.
Sugar.
Go ahead and start with your update first, and we'll, hopefully Christine shows up.
Well, I emailed, I think from our last meeting, as well, a lot of you were aware about the mask. And again, I apologize, Stephanie. And I did find Clyde's mask thing in my spam. I did print that out. But I emailed this back to her on the 6th, right after I had that, and I asked her about a lot of people, because of the CDC guidance, bringing their vaccination cards, saying they don't have to wear a mask. And I have a lot of confrontation. I have some people even bring me religious cards saying it's against their religion to wear a mask. So I just have to tell them it was our policy. A lot of confrontation. I think, John, you can test. A lot of people see coming into the reservation, but we kind of put up on a daily basis. And when we gave out the elderly last year, about 5 elderly didn't want to wear a mask or couldn't wear a mask because of breathing conditions. So we offered them a mask, face shield. A lot of them wore it. But some of them I was talking to Randy, I believe, on, I think we were discussing what happens if somebody refuses. And I think a lot of the police department said it's violating the constitutional rights. And I didn't get no backup on that. But I've been asking.
Wait.
Yeah.
You asked the police department whether or not what?
Well, mask, the mask mandate.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Who enforces it?
Well, it'd have to be your security.
Yeah, yes, it is a
In
lot.
reality, because police ain't gonna do it.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Yeah.
Nobody helped us out. But it is a constant struggle, getting, social media, people saying a lot of stuff. But everybody, we instaured the good faith policy like mask, like in Walmart, Menards. You heard of confrontation, people actually getting shot, assaulted, cussed out. But we, in a good faith policy means that we entrust you to get vaccinated. We do offer the mask free for your first use. Most people charge for that. We do offer gloves, face shields, and sanitization stations throughout the whole thing. So, but it is a lot. I mean, and like I said, all that does come at a cost too.
So, with all that being said, are you slacking off on it a little bit because you don't want to get caught up in all that, or you going with what's being said from that CDC? We're inside, you're vaccinated, all this and that.
Yes,
Is that what you're kind of going with?
a lot of people were saying that, and I didn't have a problem with it, but I didn't even vote against it. In my department manager meeting, all the department managers brought this to me.
What were their thoughts?
They all wanted masks to be optional. I didn't even vote.
Well, just so it's clear here, we're all vaccinated. We talked amongst ourselves, so that's why we don't have masks on. And I'm not saying, just because I'm not wearing one, that other people need to wear one. But I didn't want to offend anybody, but I had a hard time breathing coming in these damn crutches. But yeah, you know what? At some point in time, we're going to have to get back to the real reality of it. And that's going away from the masks. So, it's a tough one. It really is. That's why I know the chairman wanted Christy Olson here. What, there she is. Come on up. Hi, how are you?
Hi, Chris.
You hanging in there? Good. Was just talking about the mask mandates, and he was telling about a lot of the static he's been getting down to the casino and a lot of drama from it. And there's a lot of confusion with CDC saying that, if you're vaccinated, you don't need to wear them inside anymore and all that stuff. And so there's a lot of confusion that's causing a lot of animosity. And that's why we kind of wanted you here to get your thoughts on it. I mean, Clyde, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to
Go ahead.
place, but to get your thoughts on it, Christy, to because you're our health director. We respect you, although I know you feel beat down sometimes. So what's your thoughts?
I think that if you're vaccinated, fully vaccinated, you can go without a mask, inside and outside. Resume activities that you did before. I think that it's safe. We are at no cases right now. I think it's safe to do that at this point. You know, of course, that could change. If we had a cluster or a huge outbreak, we might have to back up. But at this moment, I think we should move forward.
So with that being said, Quentin, maybe you could hang up signs on the doors on a webpage saying if you're fully vaccinated, what have you. And if you're not, we prefer you to wear a mask, but you understand? Maybe that would help you with some of that drama down there.
We did put a notice on the door for that.
Okay. Did it help any?
It did help, but a lot of it, I'm kind of impressed. A lot of our locals, they still expect to be temperature scanned, still expect, and I like them. They still sanitize their hands.
And that's really good. You know, it's good practice, you know, in reality. But if there's anything that can help, you know, because I know it was hard for me. Well, I'm gonna tell you something. I went on 8 last week in a restaurant. My God, that was good, you know. But it was hard breaking the habit of going through drive-thrus and getting the hell away from everybody, you know.
Actually, I went down to Deadwood. I swung to a lot of the casinos just to check them out. Geez, in Deadwood, you don't have to wear nothing.
Yeah.
And you're looked at funny if you wear a mask.
Yeah. They'll
Wear nothing.
Yeah.
Chris, on your report, you talk about booster shots given. Do you mean by that second shot?
No, they're saying now that
variants,
like
variants.
next year, we probably will have to get a booster shot.
On your report, it talks to boosters.
Oh, which report?
Oh, maybe I misread.
I know, that was the one that Kim sent, the booster. So, maybe it wasn't.
It's a possibility.
It was the second shot.
Yeah.
There was prime
Gotcha.
and then the other one. So whatever was that said, it was the second shot.
Because of the new variants coming up, we might need.
Maybe try and take an extra one now, buddy.
Yeah, I will. I want a third one. Dang sure.
No, I was at a funeral yesterday and they had like food out and they didn't have gloves and people were taking potato chips out of the bowl and it's like, oh my God.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
Like, don't touch anything. We're just too, but here we are way, way, way more cautious than the rest of the world, I think.
Yeah.
We are,
Well, because
we're doing a good job.
We experience a loss firsthand
Yes.
with our own people and our own relatives, so we have that respect.
Yep.
Sorry, I had to step out, take a call, but, so what was your recommendation?
To go with CDC, follow CDC's recommendation. If you've been vaccinated, duly vaccinated, you can not wear a mask and you can resume duties that you did previous to the pandemic.
And can we get rid of these?
If people are vaccinated, so that's up to you guys. If you're all vaccinated.
Yeah, we are.
So then, at that point, then do you concur with Mr. McGee there, on the option, making it optional?
Yeah, I guess I don't know how else you're gonna do that.
No, if they wanna wear it.
Oh, absolutely.
Optional.
Yes, oh, I'm sorry. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, no one should be told no if they want to.
Optional.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. I'm sorry. Yes, I think they should be able to.
So Christie said.
Yeah. She said, and it's a phone number.
Yeah, why? And, what I just think that you just, it's just like with anything, I think you have to just continue to monitor the situation at hand. Look for increased variant spikes or, you know, another outbreak, then you have to reinstate it or whatever moving forward. But I think, what I've seen, I just read it last night again too, and I can't remember right offhand, but your chances, if they've been vaccinated, are getting it are very low. But they didn't specifically say which vaccine. They just said your chances of a severe infection are really, really low. if you did contract the virus after you've been vaccinated. So I mean, that was on the CDC thing, I was reading that, so that was good to hear, but like I said, they didn't specify, does that include all vaccines or just one type of vaccine, so.
The one thing that I found out is that there probably is reinfections more than we know, but they can't or aren't testing for it, because what you need is the first sample of the first time you got sick, and then you need the sample of the second time you got sick, so that they can run them together. And if you don't have the first one, then they can't. So if it's been too long, the lab probably doesn't have it anymore. So they're not even bothering to do it, so.
Yeah, then what I also read was just this morning that a lot of them, they said, well, do they need to be tested routinely? And they said, really, no. Unless you have real severe symptoms, but because there's so many common viruses out there that are like, give you the same symptoms as COVID, unless you're really presenting severe symptoms, they don't even recommend getting tested, because a common cold or allergies or whatever can present the same symptoms. So unless you're not, recovering in a manner, there's something that's going on, like fever, fatigue, and cough. If that's prolonged or to get severe level, then maybe you should get tested, but they ain't even recommending that. So I was really surprised to see that this morning.
I think that we should go back to one of the very first things they said, when they said after you get it, you shouldn't be tested again for at least 90 days, but it would be best if you didn't get tested for a whole year. I think that's the best recommendation that they gave, and they kind of got away from that. Like hospitals, of course they had to test for it, but they don't know if it's new or old infections. So I think that if anyone asks, that would be the best advice that we give them. If you've had it, don't test for a year.
So with that being said, Mr. Chair, with what we're dealing with there, is that gonna be implemented here as well in these buildings and schools? Are they gonna have their own, or how's that gonna go down?
I think it's a good point. That's all, the whole point is to discuss that issue and how we move forward safely, but also easing a little bit, to take all the safety measures down. Like I said, and I think, those that maybe have a compromised immune system or those that are high risk, if they, like I said, but to make those that are fully vaccinated continue to wear them if they're staying within their area, it's a whole nother thing. But I'm only one voice out of 6 here, so I'll open this up for discussion, so.
Here we got our fair coming up, Chris. So we're gonna have people coming in, we don't know if they're vaccinated or not. They probably are, unless they're Republicans,
Careful, the camera's on.
We should be okay at all the events, right?
Yeah.
If we're vaccinated without wearing a mask.
I would say that you should, but you can always put up a poster just at the fair that says, out of respect for our elders and those that are immunocompromised, we ask that everyone wear a mask. You could do that if you would feel more comfortable doing that.
We
But if you
request
don't-
that they go.
See, that's the tough part too, because if it's gonna be 100 and some degrees, should you have people falling over because they're not getting enough air?
Be all dirty from all that sauce, trying to eat like that,
But
Chris and I talked about that. If we start seeing spikes, geez, I hope we don't. But if we do,
gotta make adjustments.
yeah, we're gonna have to probably require like a shot card or something.
Something, and they all should.
At the powwow where they're real close,
I was keeping on my phone.
Yeah.
I
Get
take
a
pictures.
vendor selling shot cards.
well, that's the thing. Yeah, I mean, it's
if
a
you-
slippery slope, because your vaccination card has a lot of personal information on there also, your birth date.
Yep.
And
If you open it up and, if you've been vaccinated, then you just assume everybody is. And if you start to see a spike or whatever, then like I said, you gotta make adjustments, but.
And my suggestion would be is have a mass vaccination or testing 3 or 4 days after the fair. Open if anybody wants to come in and feels they. All right.
Yeah,
No,
It's like ketchup.
even during the fair.
Yeah,
Take it out from
see, that's how I
distance.
carry mine right there. Picture of it in
The
my
idea
phone.
for
Yeah, that's a
dancers
good idea.
was if they're not vaccinated, I was gonna mass test all my dancers before they registered. That's how,
That's cool.
Yeah, I like that.
Mhm.
That's good.
we gotta go dancers.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chris.
Say, Chris,
So yeah, I think every opportunity to continue to educate folks, because we still have a small population, depending on how you look at it, that is unvaccinated. So we want to make sure we have those precautions in place. But I think the chairman said it well, that, you know, we still have at-risk immunocompromised people, elders, just reminding folks that if they experience symptoms to, you know, isolate themselves.
And that's what I would say for our employees, if you don't feel safe, you can wear your mask, but those that have been fully vaccinated, you're welcome, but just respect others. Don't maybe cough in their face or something, you know, to that effect. I mean, it's all about a respect factor, but at the same time, yes, ma'am.
I just wanna clarify, cause I know the daycare and the Head Start may ask this, but does that include those programs? And then I know daycare has been doing daily or weekly testing each of the staff members for COVID. I just wanna get some guidance on that.
I'm glad you brought that up. I would say that they work with Christine on that, because how it affects kids, I mean, that's a whole nother ballgame there, because the vaccination's only been opened up for 12 to on up now, and there's nothing for them little fellers, so and if you can't force somebody to take the vaccine, so if they're not fully vaccinated, then you just keep your mask on. Maybe that's my suggestion. Like I said, I'm only one of 6, so this is another open discussion.
It makes a lot of sense to me, you know, work with Christie on it, but not only just daycare, a lot of the programs, the rest of the program, you're gonna have schools, you know, they're gonna be coming forward, you know, all of, you know, the other programs are gonna be wanting guidance as well as what are these masks, you know, we're gonna wear them or not. You know, it's good to, if we're gonna, everybody has a different field, different playing field with, you know, like those little ones down there, and adults that, you know, it's all different. Like we went to a funeral down in Winnebago last weekend. We wore masks, and I said, and one of my brothers said, what's the mask thing? Is it do we have to wear them or not? And they said it's optional. If you're vaccinated, you're good. So we were able to remove ours, but we asked, you know, but you're gonna have all the programs asking, just know that, and they're gonna be coming to Christie for guidance on it, so, and everyone's different, so.
Yeah, Leah called this morning about starting basketball up this summer. And you know, she wanted to say that if you're fully vaccinated, you're good, you play. But if you haven't been, then they're gonna ask them to wear a mask. And that's perfectly fine, because if that's what they're comfortable with, and that's because they're close, they're gonna be in each other's faces and they can be tested and have to wear a mask. So yeah, it's gonna be different, so that might make it hard for people to understand too, because if one, like if Leah's being more stringent than say someone else, then they're gonna say, well, how come the casino gets to do it this way, but Leah's doing it that way?
Yeah.
So that's gonna come up, just so you guys know that, you know, people are gonna say, well, how come they don't have to?
Every program's different.
Yeah, so that would be the answer, but just so you know, that probably will happen.
Chris.
Yeah.
We're starting to see organizations paying people to get vaccinated.
Yeah.
Sometimes, you know, a person may think that if you're vaccinated but you lost your shot card and you want to get $100 to get vaccinated, what would happen if you got like 3 shots in 2 months?
You know, I don't
What'd
think
you do? Yeah, I see where he's going.
The last I heard, they said it wasn't gonna hurt you, but that depends on your system. That would be, I don't know that you could really say what would happen to every person. They're saying that if it was an accident, say, you know, you get one and then you get another one, or a different kind even, it shouldn't harm you. But that would be individually, it could be, you could get really sick. I mean, you know, but
It wouldn't make you sick though.
yeah.
It would?
It might. some people might not do anything.
You would hope it wouldn't anyway.
Yeah, I mean, but I
But if
can't
you
give
do
it.
that, we're gonna tattoo it on your damn hand.
But
Got my shot on this day.
yeah.
IHS would know how many shots you got.
What if they go to
Sometimes
different
you go to
vaccination
different
places, you know?
like, say they got them over here and then Bart was given $500, well, then they might go over there and, you know, I mean, I'm just saying, people might do crazy things.
What is our, vaccination percentage right now in the community?
She thinks that we're over, the last meeting, I think she said, or maybe it was Mr. Driving Hawk. I think that they are saying that 70% of those that can be vaccinated are vaccinated. That was the last one I.
Through the whole Great Plains region or just our area?
No, that's just us.
Wow.
That's good.
Great Plains is lower
Hope it
than
goes
us.
higher.
Really good. Right on it,
Yeah.
yes.
So, but Great Plains was lower than that.
It's great news.
We'll get their shot.
Yeah, get there, go
Get that 500.
Yeah.
come back over here. Another two, huh?
Might get a droopy arm or break a leg. I don't think I'd go for it.
Growing antennas out of your head. Christine, so you're okay with Mr. McGee with his staff's recommendations? But I would say in a future reference, Mr. McGee, as a GM, we're not trying to in no way, shape or form try to micromanage you or your program, but I would recommend you be involved in that decision process because it eventually comes back to you as a GM. You oversee the staff and that your input and opinion should matter. And that way it's just not making you managers feel like, okay, this is all on them, not on me, you know what I mean? So that it's a yes or no with them, so you stand with them or whatever. That's my recommendation to you moving forward on that. And just stay working with Christine and local health department.
Yeah, we do correspond back and forth each other, and that's what I recommended in this too. If some cases do arise, let me know and we'll tighten up a little more.
Yeah, if somebody comes in the door just looking, not right, heavy sweating, coughing, I say, I'm sorry, we have to ask you to leave. Are you okay? And we call somebody and have you step inside this bingo room until we get you cleared and checked out because we don't, you just don't.
Yep.
We're not trying to discriminate, but you don't look well and we are trying to keep our establishment as safe as possible.
They look that rough, get them the hell out of there.
Well, that's what I'm saying is, but see, it's not only the virus that makes people look at it. It could be drugs, alcohol, alcohol affects whatever. So there's a multitude. That's why it is very important for the people at those front doors to make sure they're getting a good general look at people, not just nodding your head and okay, going by. No, make sure you're looking at them. Make sure you're getting a good visual on them. So.
Send Cody as a test.
Thank you.
Testing station.
Maybe you got more? Go ahead.
I think that's all I had. Is there anything else? But yeah, I'm fully vaccinated, but I'm just courteous to other people. Our staff will continue to wear it.
Respect.
Thank you very much for that.
We'll keep these.
And thank you for having drawings down there. I've been hearing a lot of good things.
Hey, but that 4-wheeler is mine.
I've been hearing a lot of good things. Thank you.
Found a vendor that they were using, paying probably over $100,000 per year. He's just a middleman and cut him out and deal directly with them. So I gave that budget to Ross. So, and he's marketing, he handles all that. So he's doing a good job.
Good, I'm glad to see that people are saying good things and I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah, if you guys have anything, come down, come see me and come talk to me. I'm always there Monday to Friday, 8 to 4.
Can I come today?
Thank you.
Can Cody come down?
Yeah.
Hey, you said, see, you heard it from the horse's mouth.
Pardon hearing for Cody.
We have a late request. Sorry, everybody, she wasn't included on the agenda. It was a miss. Sorry. Give us a couple minutes with the next one that was bumped to the afternoon, but we can try to get them. Go ahead, come up, Miss.
Okay, it's real
Come up,
quick,
Stephanie.
but it's for all of you.
Have a seat.
I'm having problems with the police. I called for them last night, they didn't show up. Now, it's with my sister Samantha. I'm requesting banishment. I've been going through this with her. She just now tore into another family member. This family member was leaving my brother's house. She pulls up, she tears into her. Last night after the candlelight vigil, she came, we had to break up 3 people she went at. If I didn't have that ribbon skirt on, I would have tore into her. And my grandchildren shouldn't have to see that. But the police won't do anything. She gets in their face, she screams, she hollers. She's been kicked out of the motel room. She went to the cage, she got a key to my room, she went in there and stayed. And I put her out, so she's been after everybody. She's mad at all of us, hates us all, hates the tribe, and you guys all know her because I'm sure she's come to you. She has a horrible drug habit. She's been to treatment. She's been to jail. I don't hate her. I love her. I love my niece and my nephew. The last time she went to jail in Mitchell, she had nobody but me. I'm the one who paid for her phone calls, and I'm the one who went to Mitchell and checked on her kids. You know, I love her. I'm not doing this out of spite or hatefulness. I'm doing this for my family. Before my mother died in 2012, she stole and sold everything of value. When I lived in Pierre 10 years ago, I used to drive from Pierre for every time she was tearing into a family member. And it's enough is enough. The police will not do anything. She could stand there, her jaw sticking out to hear her eyes like this, looking like a dang monster from the meth. They don't do it, and her kids are standing right beside her. They don't even get scared anymore. They're so accustomed to it. They think it's normal and everybody's watching it and letting it happen. And you take her kids, she'll come at you probably with a hatchet. Enough is enough.
Can you write a statement for us? We do meet with law enforcement this afternoon. We'll address this with them.
And I was like, it's just pointless to go over there. They won't go when you call them. They won't do any. Okay, well, my phone went missing from the motel. So I was dealing with that one day. Yesterday I was dealing with putting her out of the room half the day. Now I'm supposed to be on my way to Chamberlain, and she's doing this. I'm here to bury my brother. I'm sorry for coming. I'm just so upset right now.
Understandable.
And I know it's gonna cause more problems. This is gonna escalate. I know when my daughters see her, I know what's gonna happen next.
Yeah, I know too.
They're mad.
She coulda, yeah, and it's not good when we have somebody that strung out on that meth, acting crazy. I know
And you
some
know
of
what,
the
she,
history.
it would be good for the community. She doesn't wanna get help herself, but if you guys just think of how much crime her and herself and Baby L have done to this community. The drugs they brought in, the crimes they've committed, the thefts. I mean, of course you can't prove it, otherwise they'd be charged, but how much of that would stop from one person not being allowed here? And it's not gonna help me any. I don't live in the community. So it's not for me, it's not a personal thing, it's for my family.
Yeah, just, Marlene's desk should have a pen out there and just write your statement.
Okay, just leave it with Bob.
You can stick it in my box outside my office door. No.
Thank you
I
guys.
just wanted to say, I'm so sorry about your loss. Second of all, about how brave you are to do this for a family member, because it takes courage to stand up, so thank you.
Thank you all for listening.
Pleasure with
You guys are doing an awesome job, by the way. I love hearing about my tribe now.
you.